The $36 billion split. The untold story of Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott. What happens when two dreamers who once shared a beat-up Chevy and a vision for world-changing innovation become the world's wealthiest couple, and then face a very public split? How did a love story built on ambition, late nights, and shared dreams end in one of history's most famous divorce settlements? And why did a man known for revolutionizing shopping find himself buying his way out of the headlines? Get ready for the untold story of Jeff Bezos and Mackenzie Scott, a tale of staggering wealth, unbreakable will, and a split that gave $36 billion a whole new purpose. Here we'll uncover the secrets behind the late nights, the love, and the decisions that turned Jeff and Mackenzie's partnership into an empire, and then made them walk away from it. What made them stay gracious? How did they navigate such a high-stakes split while protecting their privacy? And most intriguingly, what did Mackenzie do with her new billions? Join us on a wild journey through ambition, loyalty, betrayal, and a divorce settlement that reshaped the course of two lives, one fortune, and the world of philanthropy itself. Jeffrey Preston Bezos was born in 1964 in Albuquerque, New Mexico, to a teenage mother and a Cuban immigrant stepfather. As a kid, Jeff had a knack for science and a wild imagination, but life wasn't easy. Raised by hardworking parents who instilled a relentless work ethic in him, Jeff grew up with a fascination for invention. In high school, he famously converted his garage into a lab and rigged an electronic alarm system to keep his siblings out. While his peers were dreaming of Friday night parties, Jeff's dreams were a bit grander. After graduating from Princeton with degrees in electrical engineering and computer science, he worked on Wall Street, where his mind was constantly churning with bigger ideas. By 1994, with a decent job and a good life, he left New York with a vision that could redefine commerce forever. It was called Amazon, and it began as an online bookstore in his garage. Mackenzie Scott, born Mackenzie Tuttle, grew up in San Francisco in a family of wealth and influence. She was a storyteller at heart, known for her deep empathy, intelligence, and sharp wit. After earning an English degree at Princeton, she studied under the acclaimed author Toni Morrison, who famously called Mackenzie one of her best students. Mackenzie aspired to be a novelist and had a keen understanding of complex characters, a skill that would prove quite useful in her future marriage. Mackenzie met Jeff while they were both working at the investment firm D. Shaw in New York. They quickly bonded, and Mackenzie was captivated by Jeff's vision. By 1993, they were married, and a year later, Mackenzie was helping Jeff drive to Seattle in a beat-up Chevy Blazer to start Amazon. Amazon was a gamble. Jeff worked tirelessly, pouring every ounce of energy into his startup, and Mackenzie supported him every step of the way. She took on bookkeeping, drove him to meetings, and even packed orders herself. As Amazon grew, so did their family. They had 4 children together, balancing the chaos of Silicon Valley life with the demands of raising a family. But Amazon wasn't just growing, it was exploding. Jeff's relentless ambition turned a small online bookstore into the everything store, and he transformed from a determined entrepreneur into one of the most powerful men on earth. Despite the growing fortune and fame, cracks were beginning to form behind the scenes. Jeff's time was increasingly dominated by Amazon and his various ventures, while Mackenzie's heart was set on philanthropy and writing. The marriage took a dramatic turn in early 2019 when news broke that Jeff Bezos was dating Lauren Sanchez, a former news anchor. Suddenly, the private life of one of the world's richest men was splashed across every headline. Tabloids went wild, revealing private texts, photos, and intimate details of his relationship with Sanchez. The media frenzy was fueled by rumors of a family feud, with fingers pointing every which way. Behind the scenes, Jeff and Mackenzie were quietly working through their separation, but the betrayal and subsequent media explosion were painful. Mackenzie's privacy had been breached, and while Jeff tried to downplay the drama, it was clear that this was no ordinary divorce. The tabloids had found their gold mine, and every week there was a new rumor or leaked message. In the midst of this scandal, both Jeff and Mackenzie made a mutual decision to settle amicably and quickly. With lawyers in tow, they entered into mediation rather than dragging out a high-profile, sensationalized trial. The mediator must have felt the weight of 1,000 tabloids on their shoulders, tasked with handling the most valuable divorce settlement in history. Mackenzie agreed to take 25% of their shared Amazon stock, amounting to around $36 billion at the time. Despite this monumental payout, She ceded all voting rights to Jeff and left him with full control of the company. This move kept the company stable and showed the world that Mackenzie had little interest in drama or power struggles. She wanted to close this chapter with grace. Within days of finalizing the divorce, Mackenzie pledged to give away a significant portion of her fortune, later donating billions to causes ranging from education to climate change, and support for marginalized communities. She also changed her name to Mackenzie Scott, symbolizing her new beginning and independence. The Bezos-Scott divorce taught the world a lot about money, love, and public image. Here's what stood out. Choosing mediation over litigation kept the settlement fast, efficient, and, perhaps most importantly, private. Both were spared the spectacle of a drawn-out court case. Despite the betrayal and the scandal, Mackenzie's decision to avoid a messy legal battle allowed both parties to focus on positive futures. She took her billions and invested in humanity rather than bitterness. By settling amicably, they each showed respect for the other's new path. Jeff continued with Amazon and his ambitions, while Mackenzie poured her wealth into transformative philanthropy. Mackenzie could have demanded more, but she chose not to, allowing Amazon to remain under Jeff's control. Her approach exemplified humility in a situation that could easily have turned contentious. In the end, the Bezos-Scott divorce may have begun with betrayal and media frenzy, but it ended with dignity, generosity, and grace. Their settlement reminded the world that even in the most challenging of times, it's possible to handle life's hardships with class, a clear vision, and a dose of humanity. And so, while Amazon's story continued, so did theirs, two people who, in parting ways, found new causes to champion and new stories to tell.